When it comes to landing callbacks to the top tech companies as a PM, not every company name and brand carries the same weight. The names on your resume, the brands, the logos can be a powerful signal when it comes to calling you back for a PM resume, or it can make you invisible. In this video, we're ranking the top 25 apps on the App Store using this tier system. Number 1 is callbacks. This means if you've got this name, this app, this company, this brand name, you're going to get a callback irrespective of what you actually did at this company. Number 2 is signal. You're going to get additional signal. It's going to get the recruiter's attention, but it may not be the only thing that they look at. Our category number 3 is context. This means that it might get the recruiter's attention, but they need additional context to actually make them reach out for a callback. Okay, it's great you worked for this company, but what exactly was your area of ownership? Next category is our meh category. That means that, well, you're really not getting a lot of attention with these names. And finally, we've got our invisible category. This means that there's nothing that happens to the recruiter or hiring manager as they look at this name. No additional neurons are firing. They will not be moving your resume to a callback pile. It doesn't register on their radar in a meaningful way. Number 25, we've got Canva. This is a well-known brand at this point. They've pretty much made everybody into a graphic designer, present company included. Very well known these days in the tech industry, and it's going to get some attention from recruiters. This one is context sensitive because well, you know what? This one might be in the context sensitive one because often they will want to know what exactly you did there. But because of the growth that they've been able to achieve, the product-led growth where they're basically their product speaks for them, it is somewhere between strong signal and context needed. If I imagine a top tech recruiter, let's say Google, Meta, DoorDash, Instacart recruiter, right off the bat, Canva is going to be pretty well known in the tech industry. So I'm going to put it in the signal category. If you've got this name, you're going to get attention. You don't necessarily need a ton of additional context. You're going to generate signal just from the name alone. If you did product work at Canva, that means you're getting signal. Let's continue. Sportsbook, FanDuel, DraftKings. So there's 2 betting platforms. Both are going to be context sensitive. So in the gaming, real world gaming or entertainment or the consumer stuff, it might be relevant. But you're probably going to need to add some context. It is a brand that will get some recognition. I'm just going to put DraftKings and FanDuel right next to each other. Probably DraftKings is more well-known, so I'm going to stack rank them a little bit higher here. But you're going to need to provide context. What exactly did you do over there? And is it applicable to maybe non-gaming industries, non-gaming verticals? All right, next we've got Fubo. So Fubo, it's either meh or invisible. I would say it probably is these days invisible, which means if you put it on the resume by itself, it's not going to do anything for you. No one is going to short stack your resume because you've got this name. Next, we've got right next to Fubo, which is a very popular app, we've got Uber. Uber will almost certainly get you a callback. It is stronger than Canva. I'm thinking in today's environment, whether it still will get you that instant callback and does it deserve to be in the very top tier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the signal because it's definitive signal. And we're going to see who else is over here because I feel like there's only a few of these companies that are going to give you instant callbacks these days. And Uber is almost on that line, but not quite there. So we're going to give it strong signal, which is still a very respectable place to be. Don't get me wrong. NBC, this happened to be in the top 25 free apps when I was taking the screenshot. So we're going to put it under heavy context necessary. And most of the media companies, except just a few, are going to be in this area, either context or meh, depending if it's Paramount, which in fact here it is. So let's just line up NBC and Paramount as an example. Both are pretty well-known brands, but they're not going to do a whole lot for you unless you're going for those specific verticals or industries. So these are very close. As you can see, NBC is toward the end of our middle tier where you need heavy context, and Paramount is our very top of meh category, which means that you're not going to get a whole lot of visibility or interest just with the name alone. No idea what Drama Box is, so we're going to put it to the right of the football fan because it's probably an up-and-coming multi-platform streamer or something like that. But it's not very well known in the Valley. It's not very well known in tech. And even though it's extremely popular in terms of the downloads, It's not going to get you credibility with the recruiters. Ticketmaster, extremely well-known brand and somewhat despised brand. I certainly know that at DoorDash and a lot of companies, one of their top questions is improve the post-checkout experience at Ticketmaster because, and this is true, you know this to be true if you ever use Ticketmaster, it is not an ideal experience for users. Nonetheless, they do pretty much have monopolistic tendencies. They're well known, and you can make improvements in product if you're a product manager at Ticketmaster. So, depending on the context, it could be appropriate. We're going to put them right with this bunch, and we're actually going to put NBC lower than Ticketmaster. Next, we've got Shein, which is the retailer. Is it Shein or Shein? This used to be a top customer of mine at Google, and it's been a few years now, so I honestly forgot if it's Shein or Shein. Please just let me know in the comments. Either way, it's a top well-known app, pretty well respected, pretty well recognized, but it does need additional context, so it's vertical specific. So I will put it actually at the very top of context specific. So if you're going for e-commerce or if you're going for a specific vertical, I think it's easy and it's going to get you the callback. But outside of retail or e-commerce and some of those areas, so it could be strong, kind of like a Walmart, on the Walmart level or Amazon even, but you still need additional context. So we will keep it out of the strong signal category. NFL, this is like Coca-Cola or Nike, is just a well-known brand. They don't really do a whole lot from a product management perspective, not yet anyway. Obviously, they're trying, but again, a gigantic monopolist pretty much. So they're not necessarily on the cutting edge of tech, shall we say. So I will put them, it's not really invisible because it's the NFL. So I'll just put it on the far end of meh. You're not going to, it doesn't mean much. The NFL or the NBA or any of these big leagues, they don't mean much in tech. You're not going to turn heads with those names. Now, TikTok, on the other hand, you would think maybe that would be an instant callback. Well, not quite. They work super hard. They kind of work their people half to death. And obviously, there's a lot of issues going on from a geopolitical standpoint. So because of that, it is strong signal. And we're going to put it above Canva, below Uber. And it is going to get you callbacks. It is going to get you interest. And it is going to generate recruiter interest, which is why we're putting it into the signal. Now, this is CapCut, and you got to hand it to companies that think that they can pull off just a logo, that just they will be recognized on the logo alone. In this day and age, with this competition, you got to hand it to CapCut. They're really trying to make a stand here. They're going to be a big business, CapCut. Unfortunately, they are definitely somewhere between invisible and meh. So we will put them, should we downgrade them? Let's leave them at meh, just because of how self-confident they are and how they're just really saying, you know what? No text needed. People are going to know our logo. They're going to know this is CapCut. So we're going to put them in meh. Otherwise, they would be in invisible if they didn't have that self-confidence. Now this, who is this? Good Short, movies and drama. This goes straight to the trash bin. I have no idea what this is. If you work for this company, great work. However, again, I'm sure you do great product work, but just for the purpose of recognizability, it's not going to open any doors. We're going to put you somewhere in here. To be honest with you, I don't know exactly where, but certainly in the invisible bucket. Here we go. Shop. Obviously, this is Shopify. Very, very strong signal. So right away, I'm thinking, is it going to be in the strong signal? It's not going to be instant callback because it's very context specific. But is it strong enough signal to put you outside and above our context sensitive tier? And I don't think so. I think it will still be relevant. I'm sure a lot of companies, for instance, Stripe or Amazon or Walmart, might consider this a strong signal. So they will call you back, or they might look at your resume a little bit with more precision and give it a little bit more attention, but not everybody. So we'll put it at the very top, right above Shein, because it's a platform. And it obviously, any platforms, all things being equal, are going to be stronger than non-platforms. Next, we've got Temu. So do they go to the meh? Yeah, they will go somewhere maybe above CapCut, because they are maybe above NFL because they're tech and maybe above Paramount. So they're at the very top of our meh heap, which means they're not going to get you much, but it's starting to, you know what? Actually, no, Paramount is still a more recognizable brand. So I think this is right here. Between NFL and Paramount is the perfect spot for them. Oh, look, it's another logo that they expect us to know because, well, this is Perplexity. Even though they don't really have a proprietary AI model, they pretend that they are the big fish in town. And again, I'm sorry if you work for Perplexity. Actually, Perplexity is super hot. So if you work for Perplexity, you probably will get an instant callback these days. So even though I don't believe they have a proprietary model, I'm going to actually put these into callback. It's such a darling of the AI world and of consumers that recruiters will be very likely to call you back just from the name alone. So it's our first instant callbacks. If you've worked for Perplexity as a product manager, all doors will be open to you. Continuing on, we've got Whatnot, which is a live selling platform. It is certainly gaining in popularity over the years. It is definitely rising through the ranks. The question is it strong signal or is it very strong on the context side? I would imagine that for certain verticals, then there's a lot of them, live streaming, entertainment even, certainly e-commerce, platforms, direct-to-consumer, so consumer products. I think it might even be Signal. It's right next to Shopify, though, so I think I would place them both with context. It's not quite enough to just say, hey, look, there's strong signal right there. Let's make the callback. I think you need to dig deeper to understand what exactly did you do at this company and whatnot. Next, we're going to ignore WhatsApp here because we've got Instagram, and Instagram and WhatsApp are both Meta, so we're just going to assume that it's Instagram. Now, this is the only T-dating advice, certainly will be invisible. If you work for T-dating advice, I don't think there's a lot of you that are in the tech world, so I'm just going to put you in invisible, which is exactly what it is. No one has any idea what T-dating advice is. It could be a social phenomenon. We just don't know about it in tech right now. Please go ahead and let me know in the comments if you think that's wrong, but you're going to be more invisible than the rest of these folks. Moving on to Telegram, very, very well known now, but it will require additional context. What exactly did you do at Telegram? It's not enough to just be a PM at Telegram. We need to understand what exactly you did, and I'm going to put it right below Shop and above Shein. Next, X, or was it Twitter, or was it X? Where should we put it? It all depends on how we feel about Elon Musk. I'm just kidding. It's an enigma, X. Do you really get credibility or recognizability? Kind of, because it's Twitter or X or whatever, but I don't know that it's necessarily a strong signal these days in today's climate or whatever. You know, take it for what it is. I think for X, you're going to need to provide context. It is not enough to just, it's not enough to actually make it into the strong signal category. You need to provide context. What did you do? What exactly happened? How long were you there? What was your area of ownership, etc. Now, when we get to Instagram, pretty much instant callback. Any Meta products that you've got on your resume will almost certainly guarantee a callback from a lot of companies and will get the biggest recruiter interest. Perplexity is still higher than Meta today because of today's environment, but in general, Meta would be a top dog here. And then we've got our big hitters. Google still generates incredible interest in recruiters, hiring managers, everybody except startups who will sometimes not be very excited by the Google resume. But if you're applying for anywhere outside of early startups, you're going to get the most doors open out of all of these, except still Perplexity is higher because of the interest that it generates today. And finally, our top dog that will be the highest on our list. It's the highest on a lot of lists these days. This is a straight golden ticket to anywhere you want to be in tech. But if you're working for OpenAI, you're already making $1 million, so you're probably not necessarily looking for a way out. Nonetheless, if you do happen to have this on your resume, I can imagine over the next 5-10 years, you're going to have that golden ticket with you. There's our distribution. I've got, out of these 25, we've got a nice nice distribution where we've got a lot of folks in the middle, and then approximately equal on the bottom and top. If you are in this category, meh or invisible, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Do the best work that you can. But if you're trying to become a well-paid PM, a $1 million PM, then I would recommend making a few jumps or planning for your next stepping stone where you can increase your recognizability and get your foot in more of these doors, more of these opportunities. And if you're looking for your next product management role right now, then you can use the link in the description to schedule a time to chat with our team. Thanks very much. I'll see you next time.